They say I was the most loved woman in all of Chinese history. They say the emperor went mad for me. He did not want his empire. He wanted to shave his head and become a monk. He wanted to leave everything behind. Because of me, when I gave him a son, he announced amnesty for the whole country. In China, that means every prisoner in the land was set free. That only happens when a new emperor takes the throne, or when an empress is crowned. But he did it for me, a consort, not even a queen. When I died, he stopped going to court for 5 days. He used the funeral rites of an empress, not a consort, to bury me. He wrote 4,000 words about me with his own hand. He made 108 monks chant for 49 days. He wanted to leave the throne and become a monk, and when they stopped him, he just stopped living. 6 months after I died, he died too. People say I was the great love of Emperor Shunzhi's life, but nobody ever asked me what it felt like to be loved like that. To be loved so much that it crushed you. To be loved so much that you could not breathe. My name is Dong'e in the history books. They call me Imperial Noble Consort Dong'e, or Empress Xiaoisan, or just a woman who made Shunzhi go crazy. But before I was any of those things, I was just a girl. A girl who liked to read books and practice calligraphy by the window. A girl who thought she would live a small, quiet, ordinary life. I was wrong. I was born into the Dong'e clan. We belong to the plain white banner. In the Manchu system, the banners were like large clans. Ours was one of the 8, not the highest, but respectable. My father was Eshuo. He held the title of Grand Chamberlain, a military official, loyal, steady, the kind of man who did his job and never complained. My brother Feiyangu grew up to become a great general, so our family was solid, not the richest, not the most powerful, but solid. A proper official's family when I was about 2 years old. My father was ordered to take his troops south to a region called Jiangnan. That means south of the river, the Yangtze River. He was stationed near the cities of Suzhou and Hangzhou. We stayed there for 6 or 7 years. Jiangnan was nothing like our Manchu homeland. In the north, everything was wide and cold and hard. Flat plains, strong winds, people who spoke in short, sharp words in Jiangnan. Everything was soft. Small bridges over quiet rivers, willow trees trailing their branches in the water. People who spoke in gentle musical voices. And everywhere bookshops, tea houses, scholars reciting poetry as naturally as breathing. My father did not raise me the way most Manchu girls were raised. He did not only teach me riding and archery. He hired scholars from Jiangnan to teach me to read and write Chinese characters, Chinese poetry, Chinese history. So I grew up as something unusual. A Manchu girl with the sharpness of the north and the softness of the south. I could ride a horse, but I could also write a poem. I could tie a bowstring, but I could also play a melody. My mother taught me calligraphy. She would hold my hand and guide the brush, stroke by stroke. After years of practice, my handwriting became something I was proud of. Those were good years. Simple years. Every day I read books, practiced my characters, played with my brothers and sisters in the courtyard. I thought my life would always be like this. I thought I would grow up, marry a decent man from a good Manchu family, have children, and live quietly until I was old. I did not know that fate had already drawn a completely different path for me. A path that led straight through the red walls of the Forbidden City and straight into a fire. When I was 16, my family arranged my marriage to a young man named Bombagor. He was a prince of the imperial clan. Later, he was given the title Prince Xiang. At first, I had hope. Maybe we could build something together. Maybe we could be happy. But when we actually lived together, I realized very quickly we had nothing to say to each other. He was only 14, still a boy. There was something unfinished about his face, something that had not grown into itself yet. His eyes looked at me the way you look at a stranger on the street. Polite, distant, empty. We spent very little time together. Even when we sat in the same room, there was only silence or small talk that meant nothing. How is the weather? The tea is good today. That kind of talk. Words that fill the air but leave the heart empty. The household had so many rules, every word I said was watched. Every step I took was measured. I felt like a bird in a cage. The cage was beautiful gold and jade and silk, but it was still a cage, and the bird could not breathe. During those days, I often sat by the window alone, watching the leaves fall in the courtyard, wondering how long this kind of life would last, wondering if this was all there was. I did not know that the answer was already coming. Walking toward me in a yellow robe, with eyes like fire. The turning point came on a day I went to the palace. It was a formal visit. The wives of princes and nobles were required to pay respects to the Empress Dowager Xiaozhuang, Shunzhi's mother, the most powerful woman in the empire. We knelt outside the side hall. On the cold blue bricks, rows of women in silk, heads bowed, hands folded. I could hear laughter coming from inside the hall. My heart was beating fast. My palms were sweating. And then I felt it. A gaze falling on me like sunlight through a crack in the wall. I looked up without thinking, and I met his eyes. The Shunzhi Emperor, standing there in his bright yellow dragon robe, taller than I expected, thinner than his portraits. But those eyes were burning, not angry, not cold, burning with something else, something alive, something desperate. My ears went hot. My hands clenched the silk handkerchief until it was soaked with sweat. I looked down immediately. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my own ears. I told myself it was nothing. The emperor glanced at me by accident. That is all. Do not think about it. Do not dare. But one look was enough. One look changed everything. After I returned to Prince Xiang's mansion, the atmosphere changed. My husband looked at me differently. There was suspicion in his eyes, anger. He would snap at me for no reason. I did not dare ask why. I just endured it. Later, someone told me in secret, the emperor had quarreled with Prince Xiang because of me. It had even become physical. When I heard this, the teacup slipped from my fingers. It shattered on the floor, and I knew my quiet life was over. Not long after that, Prince Xiang died. He was only 16. I knelt in the mourning hall, tears falling. I did not know if I was crying for him or for the absurdity of it all. 2 teenagers married. torn apart. Because an emperor looked at the wrong woman. Or maybe I was crying for myself, because I knew what was coming next. Soon after Prince Xiang's death, Shunzhi issued an imperial decree bring her to the palace. The day I entered the Forbidden City, I wore a new palace dress. My hands were shaking so badly, I had to squeeze my sleeves to hide it. I knew what people were saying behind my back. She is shameless. She broke the rules. The emperor has lost his mind. He is throwing away propriety for a woman. But when Shunzhi walked up to me and took my hand, all of that noise disappeared. His fingertips were warm, almost hot. His eyes were full of love, a raw, unguarded, almost painful kind of love. He said, "I only want you. I do not care what they say." I looked at his red-rimmed eyes and my heart melted, because I knew something that the court officials did not know. He was lonely too. He had been emperor since he was 9 years old. He grew up under the shadow of Dong'e, the powerful regent. Every decision made for him. Every step controlled, even his wife, the empress, had been chosen for him by his mother. A Mongolian princess, a political arrangement, no love, no warmth, no understanding. The women in his harem either came for their family's benefit or said whatever they thought he wanted to hear. Nobody truly understood him. And then there was me. A girl who could talk to him about poetry, about philosophy, about the meaning of life. A girl who listened on my very first day in the palace. He made me Xianfei, noble consort. The whole capital knew within hours. I knelt before him. I begged him to stop. "This is too much too fast," I said. "It will cause trouble. People will talk. It is bad for you. It is bad for me." He lifted me up. He smiled like a boy who had just won a prize. "I want the whole world to know," he said. "You are the one I treasure most. I want to give you the best 1 month later." He announced he would promote me again to Huang Guifei, Imperial Noble Consort, the highest rank below the empress. The court exploded. The Manchu ministers wrote protest after protest. They said I was destroying the order of the harem. The Chinese officials whispered that the emperor was lost in desire, that he was neglecting the country. Empress Dowager Xiao Zhuang was so angry she refused to speak to Shunzhi for 3 days. She called me to the Palace of Compassion and Tranquility and scolded me until I could not stop crying. That night, I knelt on the stone floor of the Palace of Compassion. My knees went numb within an hour. I wept. I begged the Empress Dowager to talk some sense into the emperor, to protect the Manchu-Mongol alliance, to keep the court stable. She looked at me for a long time. Her eyes were complicated. Many things in those eyes: anger, suspicion, but also maybe a small trace of respect. Finally, she sighed. "You are more clear-headed than he is," she said. But Shunzhi did not stop. He went ahead with the promotion, and on the day of the ceremony, he did something that had never been done before in the entire Qing Dynasty. He issued a general amnesty for the whole empire. For me, a consort, not an empress. I stood there watching hundreds of officials kneeling and bowing, and I felt no joy at all. only a stone on my chest, heavy, getting heavier with every bow, because I knew from this moment, every jealous eye in the palace would turn into a knife, and all of them were pointed at me. After I became Imperial Noble Consort, I tried my hardest to be invisible. I put away all the gold and jade decorations in Chengqian Palace. I wore only plain colored clothes, no silk, no jewels, nothing that would draw attention. When the palace maids and eunuchs made mistakes, small mistakes, not serious ones, I always spoke up for them. I asked for their punishments to be reduced. I wanted them to see that I was not the enemy, that I was not dangerous. When Empress Dowager Xiaozhuang fell ill, I sat by her bedside. Day and night, 3 days without sleep, my eyes turned red. My hands cracked from wringing hot cloths. But I did not stop, because I needed her to see I was not a threat. I was just a woman trying to survive. Every night Shunzhi worked late, reading government reports, writing orders. The candle burned down to nothing, and I sat beside him, quietly. I poured his tea. I brought him warm water. I never asked about politics. Never, not once. Only when he was upset, when the ministers fought him, when the court frustrated him, when the weight of the empire crushed his shoulders, only then did I speak. I told him stories about Jiangnan, about the willows by the river, about the scholars and their poems, or I shared ideas I had read in Buddhist texts, about letting go, about finding peace inside. He once said to me, "With you here, this cold palace finally feels like a home." I smiled when he said that, but inside I was counting every step, measuring every word, because I knew this home was built on thin ice. One wrong step and everything would crack, and I would fall through. Not just me, he would fall too, so I walked carefully every single day, like walking on ice in winter light, steady holding my breath. In the 14th year of Shunzhi's reign, I gave birth to a son, the emperor's 4th son. When I held that tiny baby for the first time, his wrinkled face, his small fists, his soft skin, my heart was so full I thought it would burst, a happiness I had never felt before, a happiness that erased everything else, the fear, the loneliness, the ice beneath my feet. All of it gone, replaced by this tiny warm breathing miracle in my arms. Shunzhi was like a child himself. He moved his government papers into my bedroom so he could be near us. He would read a report, then jump up and press his face against the baby's cheek and talk to him. "This is my first son," he said. "My true son, one day, he will guard this empire." He ordered the Imperial Observatory to choose an auspicious day for a grand ceremony. He wanted to make offerings to heaven and earth. He wanted to issue another general amnesty. The baby's blanket was made of bright yellow silk, the color only the emperor's legitimate heir was allowed to use for 100 days. I was the happiest I had ever been. I watched my baby sleep. I watched him yawn. I watched his tiny fingers wrap around mine. And I dared to dream. Maybe we could just be a family. Maybe we could be safe. Then fate struck again. The baby fell sick. At 3 months old, suddenly, without warning, the imperial doctors came. one after another. They wrote prescription after prescription, but the baby got worse, every day worse. I held him in my arms day and night. My tears never stopped. I whispered to him, "Stay, please stay. Mama is here." Shunzhi put down all his work. He sat beside us, watching, waiting, praying. We could not save him. It was snowing that day, heavy snow. The courtyard of Qing Palace was covered in white, a white so bright it hurt my eyes. My baby left me on that cold, cold day. 3 months old, gone. I held a cold blanket against my chest. I screamed, I cried until I could not breathe. Until the world went black around the edges, Shunzhi rushed in. He reached for the baby. His fingers touched the yellow blanket, and he stumbled backward 3 steps. His mouth opened. No sound came out. His throat made a choking noise, and he coughed up blood. Red, bright red, on the yellow curtain. That red burned my eyes more than the snow. After the baby died, Shunzhi gave him the highest posthumous title a prince could receive. He built an elaborate tomb. He wrote the inscription himself, every sentence filled with grief, every word soaked in loss, but none of it brought my baby back. None of it filled the hole in my chest. From that day, my heart was empty, and my body began to break. In the autumn of Shunzhi's 17th year, my body finally gave out. Every night I coughed until I could not breathe. Even lying in bed was painful. The red on the handkerchief was no longer just spots. It was more, much more. Shunzhi stayed by my side. Every hour he held my hand, his tears falling onto my fingers, warm drops on cold skin. He said, "Do not leave me. I cannot live without you. If I lose this empire, it does not matter without you. None of it means anything." I touched his face. My hand was so thin, so light. I could feel his tears under my fingertips. I said, "After I am gone, you must take care of yourself. Stop fighting with the Empress Dowager." The work of uniting Manchu and Chinese, take it slowly. Do not rush. Govern well. Do not let the people suffer. He cried like a helpless child. He held me tight. He would not let go. On the 19th day of the 8th month, I breathed my last breath in Qing Palace. I was 22 years old when I left. His cries echoed through the entire Forbidden City. I wanted to comfort him one more time, but I had no strength left. After I died, Shunzhi stopped going to court for 5 days. He gave me a funeral fit for an empress, not a consort, an empress. He gave me the posthumous title Empress Dong'e. The full name was so long, Empress Xiao Xianzhuang Hezidi Xuanren Wenhui Duanjing. By the rules of the Qing Dynasty, an Imperial Noble Consort's funeral should be simple. But he broke every rule. He ordered all princes and officials above the 4th rank to come and mourn for me. He made officials of the 2nd rank carry my coffin. That had never happened before. Not once in the history of the Qing Dynasty. He held a grand Buddhist ceremony at the Hall of Observing Virtue on Jingshan Hill. 108 monks chanting sutras for 49 days. The incense never stopped burning. The chanting never stopped echoing. During the national mourning period, the emperor is supposed to use a blue brush instead of red to mark his documents. The standard period is 27 days. Shunzhi used the blue brush for 4 months from August until December. He wrote more than 4,000 words about me in his own hand. Every small thing I did in the palace, every kindness, every moment, every detail written down, as if writing could keep me alive. After I was gone, he fell apart, completely. He lost all will to live. He even asked a Buddhist monk to shave his head. He wanted to leave the throne, leave the world, become a monk, disappear. The Empress Dowager was terrified. She summoned the monk's teacher to talk Shunzhi out of it. He gave up the idea, but from that day he spent all his time with monks. He stopped caring about the empire. His body got weaker and weaker. In the first month of the 18th year, Shunzhi caught smallpox. He died shortly after 6 months after me. Before he died, he left one final order: bury me with her in the eastern Qing tombs, together, forever. And so here I am, in the underground palace of the Shao tomb beside him, listening to the wind in the trees above. So many years have passed, and people still talk about me. Some say I was a femme fatale, a beautiful disaster, that I made the emperor neglect his duty, that I ruined the court, but only I know the truth. I never wanted to be a disaster. I never wanted power. I never wanted any of it. I was just an ordinary woman, a woman who wanted to be loved, a woman who wanted to live peacefully with the person she cared for. But I was born in the wrong time, married into the wrong family, noticed by the wrong person, not wrong because he was bad, wrong because he was the emperor. And the emperor's love is not like other people's love. It is too bright, too heavy, too dangerous. It burns everything it touches, including the person it loves most. So tonight, before you close your eyes, let me tell you something. Love is not always gentle. Sometimes love is a snowstorm, beautiful, blinding, and cold enough to kill. If someone loves you the way Shunzhi loved me, with everything, without thinking, without stopping, do not be afraid. But also do not forget to breathe. Do not forget who you were before the love came. Do not let the brightness burn away the quiet girl by the window, the one who read books and practiced calligraphy and dreamed of a simple life. She is still there, somewhere inside. Even under all the silk and jade and imperial titles, she is still there. If there is a next life, I do not want to enter the Forbidden City again. I do not want to be an Imperial Noble Consort again. I do not want to be loved by an emperor. I just want to be an ordinary girl in a house by the river, reading books with a teacher, eating dinner with my parents, watching the willows by the water. That is all. That is enough. Good night, sleep well, and tomorrow love gently. Good night.